Do you think money buys happiness?
I'd say it's a mix of both. So one thing is for sure is that you need money. At the end of the day, you need money. It doesn't matter where you live. If you don't have money, you can't put a food on the table. You can't get a house over your head, and you can't live life normally, right? Unless you want to be homeless, but I don't think most of you want that. And then if you want to actually enjoy life, you have to be able to have experiences, and oftentimes it requires money. Sadly, it does, but that's the world we live in. And another thing that we need to clarify is happiness is something that occurs and it's always a good thing, right? And it's something like maybe you get like your favorite toy or maybe you get your favorite food, but sometimes you got to realize that money will sometimes make you feel materialistic and that's not what you ideally want because a lot of people chase after happiness, but you also need to chase after joy. Joy is something that even when you have your darkest times, you'll still feel good about it. Like, let's say you have the worst thing to happen to your family. Like maybe someone dies that's really important to you, but you know your family loves you at the end of the day. Money can never buy that. And I think joy and happiness always will intertwine at some point. Not fully, but they will intertwine. And if you don't realize that, a lot of people will become materialistic and never see past money as something that's just a tool. Money's a tool at the end of the day. You cannot let money define your entire life. And I don't want to be that person that's like, oh, after I get financially free, I want to chase money till the day I die and I don't care about anything else. I only want money. I want to be able to contribute to the world and not have money as a sole goal. Because at the end of the day, personally, I believe that life is about helping other people in any shape or form, like business, mindset, health, or serving the poor. That's what I believe personally is what I would be doing. But obviously, it's different for everyone. But that is exactly how I see money in this world.
Mm.
What about you?
I would say I agree with most of your points, or if not all of it. It's just that I think money can buy happiness to an extent, right? Like, same thing. Like, you need to have a solid living situation. You need to have food on the table, right? That's the no brainer. Um, I I guess like what's your thoughts on like the best things in life are free? Like, do you agree with that statement, or would you say like money can enhance that experience?
I'd say money can enhance that experience for sure. Like, I think one thing that's like free that a lot of people overlook is like scenery, right? Like nature is really beautiful, but sometimes to get that scenery that you want, like I know one of my friends is a massive hiker, and obviously you need to
You gotta
be,
pay.
yeah, you gotta pay,
Yeah.
and if you want to see that view, you gotta pay up, and sometimes it's worth it because, of course, content, but the experience is nothing that you could ever imagine. Because yes, you can be like, oh, I could just Google a picture of it, but you're not there in the present moment. You can't see that. So I believe there's a lot of value out of course, paying for things, but there are also times where you can just find a good view, but it's not going to surpass that number one view. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, 100%. And that's why, yeah, you gotta pay for parking. You gotta pay for the permits.
Worst part about it, dude.
Yeah. Um. Okay. I would say, yeah, like money doesn't buy happiness. Money shouldn't be the source of happiness, because if that's all you make it, then you're chasing a social man-made construct, which is money.
That's very
And
true. Very true.
I think what's important, like you said, joy is something that's internal. You gotta be like you gotta have your internal checklist like checked off. So like, are you grateful for your experiences? Are you grateful for the fact that you get to be alive and you get to breathe? and you get to feel feelings. Like a lot of people overlook that. Like they get so frustrated and caught up with their day to day, or it's like they worry about the future when it's like they forget the fact that they're alive in the first place. You know, a lot of people. I know it sounds very like guru or like you
Mindset
know,
coach. Mindset coach.
or it's like, oh, you gotta be one with nature, bro. But it's like, no, like you actually got like if you're in tune with your body, you're like, damn, like I actually get to walk. Cause like there's times, right? You forget that you get injured. You forget that you roll your ankle. Get scabs on your knees,
Yeah.
and then you forget how painful that was, and how debilitating that was, and then you're just like, you forget about it like 2 weeks later after you recover, and you're like, I'm fine. Honestly, the joy comes too late. For most people, when after like they experience a traumatic injury, and then they lose what they took for granted, which is like the ability to walk. Or when they're in that hospital bed, you're like, damn, I
Yeah.
had it good.
Yeah. It's crazy because like I had a crazy bad catch with my wrists for like power cleans and
Yeah,
stuff,
this dude.
and um, yeah, it honestly reminds me that you got to keep yourself in check sometimes, right? Even though I've been lifting for a while, and sometimes I preach to others don't ego lift, but I had that, but I honestly didn't prepare myself correctly, and sometimes that just keeps me in check. It's a nice lesson learned because I didn't get like a major injury. It's obviously still nagging, and it's something that you just gotta be mindful of now, right? Like, but you can prevent this for a lot of things, and you shouldn't take that for granted ever.
Yeah, it's like okay, that's why you most of the time you don't ego lift, and I understand like in order to like, you know, get rid of that pent up frustration and emotion as a guy that we tend to hold in inside. Yeah, that's okay. As long as you're not doing anything stupid, but like yeah, and that's why because like the more you chase performance, the more you're likely to get injured. So it's like you got to follow that fine line, that gray line, right? But like in the end, it's all about staying healthy, and then because if you get injured, you just get set back, and it gives you a longer journey.
Yeah, same thing about like money too, because like you can chase after so much money because obviously we're chasing like PRs and like trying to dunk and all that stuff. But I had a crazy story. Like there was a guy I knew, he made a lot of money through gambling, and he got so good. He was like, you know what, I can make more money, and the only way to make more money is using more money in gambling, right? What he did was he actually took his parents' savings,
Yo.
which was like over 200K, and he used it and he gambled it and he lost it all. And I don't think you could ever see yourself the same and your family the same, right? And that puts yourself in check, right? You don't understand the value of money until you lose it, right? Because you could have a house, but you get evicted, you realize how much money is worth and how blessed you are to have a house, to have air conditioning, especially during California summers. And it's crazy that sometimes people would take things for granted. And you got to enjoy the small little things because you might be a lot farther than you think you are. And you should really zoom out and think, I'm probably blessed in my position. And you need to think even more perspective. Like sometimes I think third world country, they have it way worse than me. And I'm
Yeah.
complaining. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's why I always live by. I remember I was in high school with this one kid, and he was like he was a valedictorian for our high school, and I asked him like, because I felt like a dumbass, so I asked him for academic advice, and I was like, what keeps you like pushing? And keep in mind, this was like when he was sick. We were both 16. Like he already had it figured out. I told him like, why do you keep pushing yourself? Like, why do you keep like what's getting all A's, right? Why do you keep pushing yourself to do these things? He's like, well, I have it easy. Like, I think about people in third world countries who don't even get the chance to get an education or just get basic living in check. I'm like, wow. So, like, and he thought of that, like, he already knew that at 16 and he got valedictorian. Obviously, not for that reason, but it's just like his understanding of the world is like so much greater and so mature at such a young age. So yeah, I live by that now.
Yeah, highly recommend that because like honestly, I'm about to finish school, but I hated school like so much. But there's times where we forget that there are literally people on the street that wish they could get an education, and I'm taking mine for granted. And there's literally so many people that would kill me to be in my position right now. And honestly, just remembering that keeps me going because there are some people that are chasing after a mediocre life, but that'd be doing a disservice to other people if I didn't chase after the best version of myself because I know that there are people that would really want what I am right now. So I can't stop.
100%.
Yeah. So, gotta chase that bag, but once we get that bag, gotta give it back to the world.
Yes, sir.